I've got 5 tips for you for stress management. Tip number 1, prioritize self-care. If you're the type of person that always puts other people ahead of yourself, well, that might be fine for them, but that's not really doing you any good. And how can you keep taking care of them if you don't take care of yourself first? So you need to prioritize yourself so that you can take care of others as well as be able to handle all the challenges that come your way. And remember, taking care of yourself first is not being selfish. It's fundamental to your stress and mental well-being. Tip number 2, get moving. It doesn't really matter what you do. Now, I go to the gym. You can swim, go to the gym, do yoga, Pilates, go for a brisk walk. It really doesn't matter. Just get moving. The fact is that releasing endorphins is a great stress buster, and whatever is good for your body is ultimately going to be good for your mind. Tip number 3, practice mindfulness. Now, for some people, they won't really understand what that means, but it doesn't have to be complicated. And by the way, I was one of those people. So I will just remind you of this line: serenity now. I miss that guy. So achieving serenity means that you actually have to practice mindfulness. That could be in the form of meditation, self-reflection, sitting quietly and just letting go of all of the stresses of the day. If you can do that on a regular basis, that will just help lower your stress levels. And ultimately, what we're trying to do here is be able to be connected to the moment. Remember, the soup is not served at its hottest, and it's not eaten at its hottest. Tip number 4, take deep breaths. Now, breathing is subconscious. We do it at all points of the day and night, awake or asleep. But the reality is that if we do breathing exercises and we pay attention to how we breathe and how deep we breathe and for how long we hold those breaths, that exercise in and of itself reduces our stress levels. And ultimately, that's what we're trying to achieve. So, breathe. Tip number 5, reach out for support. Now, there are 2 ways we can reach out for support. One is to go and to speak to friends and family, and that is a great way to do that. I call that my tribe. And for certain people in my tribe, I speak to about some of my deeper issues. For others, it's a little bit more at surface level. That's okay. However, when your tribe cannot support you, don't let the stigma around mental health affect the decision to go and seek professional support. That is just as important. Sometimes speaking to someone who doesn't know you, who won't have a chance to judge you, who will just listen to you and be able to give you good advice, good counsel, that in and of itself will reduce the stress levels beyond your imagination. Ultimately, whether it helps a little or it helps a lot, it will help. Now, although I told you I have 5 tips, I've actually got 2 bonus tips for you. So, bonus tip number 1, mental health is physical and vice versa. That means if I'm going to pay attention to my mental health, I need to also pay attention to my physical health because they are interconnected. For example, blood pressure, heart rate, diet, exercise, mood, energy, all of these vitals, if I pay attention to those vitals, it'll give me great clues to how my stress levels are doing, and vice versa. If I see that my stress levels are so high, it'll manifest itself as well into my physical health. And those could be warning signs to let you know that everything is not okay, so that you can actually try to figure it out sooner than later. And that is the biggest trick. Now, bonus tip number 2, it's okay to not be okay. Remember, that's just a moment in time. However, if you deny it, reject it, don't pay attention to it, then you won't know how to solve it. So something that I always say is, if we don't know where we're going, how will we know when we get there? So in that same vein over here, if you don't know that there is an issue, how will you know when it's time to solve it and how to solve it? So just make sure that you know it's okay to not be okay. Thanks for watching this video on managing stress. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like and subscribe, and do let us know in the comments of any other videos or topics that you want us to talk about, and we'll be sure to get to them. And in the meantime, I'm wishing you health and wellness. Take care.